in here. Thank you for your patience over here on Instagram. Because for the first time in reading with Miss Taylor said history, for the first time in reading what Miss Taylor said history, Instagram was first to be ready. Instagram was first to be done. So, all right, here we go. It's Wednesday, and it took us forever to get here, but we're here. It took us forever to get here, but we're here now. We are here now. We are here now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm thankful. We're here now. Welcome in. If we have connection issues, we have connection issues, and it is what it is, and we'll find a different way. But we're here now, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful. Welcome in. Welcome to Reading with Miss Taylor Said. Welcome in. Welcome in. I'm not going to be waiting that long for people to get in here. I'm going to jump in because we are already about 10 minutes in on Instagram. So, for the first time in Reading what Miss Taylor Said history, Instagram was ready first. It's Wednesday. So, you know what that means? That means I wear pink. It means I wear pink and I drink wine. I have been dehydrated and exhausted all day, and there's no good reason for me to drink wine. But for the integrity of the show, I will. I'll take that L. I'll make that sacrifice. For the integrity of the show, I will drink wine today, even though I probably shouldn't because I'm dehydrated as usual. Anyway, so yesterday we had so many connection issues. We were literally only able to do one page of chapter 4. Don't make assumptions. Welcome to Reading what Miss Taylor Said. I started this show on what day did I start the show? November 30th, 2020. I started the show on November 30th, 2020 in an effort to complete some goals of mine. The first goal being to actually read the books that I own. I've purchased and accumulated a lot of books over the years, started a lot of them, didn't actually finish them, and a lot of them I haven't actually even started. So I want to actually complete the books that I've purchased over the years. And I've accumulated over the years. The second goal that I have for this show is to get more comfortable with reading aloud in front of an audience. The things that I want to do in my career, in my life, will include me reading speeches and giving speeches and reading off of teleprompters and things of that nature in front of live audiences. And I want to get more comfortable with doing that, being able to read in the proper with the proper inflections and articulations and things of that nature. And the third thing that I wanted to accomplish with this show is to become more comfortable with speaking live in front of an audience. I have not done public speaking since college and I turned 30 this year. So I really want to get more comfortable reading aloud in front of an audience. Well, not reading aloud in front of an audience, but actually speaking in front of an audience and engaging with that audience. And thankfully, we have this virtual platform where I'm able to do that. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. Hopefully, we can fight through these connection issues and have a great show. If there's too many errors over here on Facebook, go on Instagram. My name on Instagram is Miss Taylor Said, just as it is, MissTaylorSaid. Go over to Instagram on Miss Taylor Said, and I'll be live over there if we have too many connection issues on Facebook. Otherwise, thank you guys for being here. And let's go ahead and get started and get into chapter freaking 4. The third agreement, don't make assumptions. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. We have the tendency to make assumptions about everything. The problem with making assumptions is that we believe they are the truth. We could swear they're real. We make assumptions about what others are doing or thinking. We take it personally and then we blame them and react by sending emotional poison with our word. That is why whenever we make assumptions, we're asking for problems. We make an assumption, we misunderstand. We take it personally and we end up creating a whole big drama for nothing. All the sadness and drama you have lived in your life was rooted in making assumptions and taking things personally. Take a moment to consider the truth of this statement. The whole war of control between humans is about making assumptions and taking things personally. Our whole dream of hell is based on that. We create a lot of emotional poison just by making assumptions and taking it personally. Because usually we start gossiping about our assumptions. Remember, Gossiping is the way we communicate to each other in the dream of hell and transfer poison to one another. Because we are afraid to ask for clarification, we make assumptions and we believe we are right about the assumptions. Then we defend our assumptions and try to make someone else wrong. It is always better to ask questions than to make an assumption because assumptions set us up for suffering. Hey, y'all. We're reading the Four Agreements. Welcome in. Hey, Fran. Um, I'm assuming that Facebook had a lot of connection issues, so I'm glad you're here. The big mitote in the human mind creates a lot of chaos, which causes us to misinterpret everything and misunderstand everything. We only see what we want to see and hear what we want to hear. We don't perceive things the way they are. We have the habit of dreaming with no basis in reality. We literally dream things up in our imaginations. Because we don't understand something, we make an assumption about the meaning. And when the truth comes out, the bubble of our dream pops, and we find out it is not what we thought it was at all. Child, I had me a problem with some assumptions last week. Had me toe up from the flow up. I mean, I was right on some things, but I was assuming a lot, and I was toe up. An example: you are walking in the mall and you see a person you like. That person turns to you and smiles and then walks away. You can make a lot of assumptions just because of this one experience. With these assumptions, you can create a whole fantasy, and you really want to believe this fantasy and make it real. A whole dream begins to form just from your assumptions, and you believe, oh, this person really likes me. In your mind, a whole relationship begins from that. Maybe you can even get married in this fantasy land, but the fantasy is in your mind, in your personal dream. Making assumptions in our relationships is really asking for problems. Often we make the assumption that our partners know what we think and that we don't have to say what we want. Let me read that one more time for the people in the back that didn't hear me. I'm going to say it a little bit louder. Often when we're in our relationships, we make the assumption that our partners know what we think and that we don't have to say what we want. We assume they are going to do what we want because they know us so well. If they don't do what we assume they should do, we feel hurt and say, you should have known. How are you going to hold somebody accountable to something that they should have done when you've never said what they should have done? How do you expect somebody to read your mind if you never said the words, I prefer this, I like this, I want this, I don't like this, it hurts me when you say this, it makes me feel good when you say this. You know, the back and forth, the back and forth. You have to, well, not the back and forth, but you have to articulate what you want with people. Because then the thing is, if you tell people what the information they need to know and you tell them everything up front, then if they don't meet that expectation, that's when you can hold them accountable. But you can't hold somebody accountable to something you never said. That's kind of ridiculous. Let me get back into this book. Another example: you decide to get married and you make the assumption that your partner sees marriage the same way that you do. Then you live together and you find out this is not true. This creates a lot of conflict, but you still don't try to clarify your feelings about marriage. The husband comes home from work and the wife is mad, and the husband doesn't know why. Maybe it's because the wife made an assumption. Without telling him what she wants, she makes an assumption that he knows her so well that he knows what she wants, as if he can read her mind. She gets so upset because he fails to meet her expectations. Making assumptions in relationships leads to a lot of fights, a lot of difficulties, a lot of misunderstandings with people we supposedly love. In any kind of relationship, we make the assumption that others know what we think and we don't have to say what we want. They are going to do what we want because they know us so well. If they don't do what we want, what we assume they should do, we feel hurt and think, sorry, if they don't do what we want, what we assume they should do, we feel hurt and think, how could you do that? You should know. Again, we make the assumption that the other person knows what we want. A whole drama is created because we make this assumption and then put more assumptions on top of it. It's very interesting how the human mind works. We have the need to justify everything, to explain and understand everything in order to feel safe. We have millions of questions that need answers because there's so many things that the reasoning mind cannot explain. It is not important if the answer is correct, just the answer itself makes us feel safe. This is why we make assumptions. He says something right there. We have millions of questions that need answers. We have a million thoughts. And when we can't explain something, it makes us uncomfortable. So instead of seeking the truth for the explanation, we just make assumptions so that we can have the comfort of an explanation, not the explanation, not the truth, not the reality of what the situation is, just something like a dirty, stanky ass comfort blanket. That's just a raggedy, it got holes in it. It's still got a stain from 1995 and it stank. But it's better than being cold and having nothing on your arms or your body. That's what we tell ourselves. If others tell us something, we make assumptions. And if they don't tell us something, we make assumptions to fulfill our need to know and to replace the need to communicate. Even if we hear something and we don't understand, we make assumptions about what it means and then believe the assumptions. We make all sorts of assumptions because we don't have the courage to ask questions. These assumptions are made so fast and unconsciously, most of the time because we have agreements to communicate this way. We have agreed that it is not safe to ask questions. We have agreed that if people love us, they should know what we want or how we feel. When we believe something, we assume we are right about it to the point that we will destroy relationships in order to defend our position. Ooh, ooh, shoot. Call me out. Making assumptions, not getting actual answers, and the whole relationships off of the assumption. We make the assumption that everyone sees life the way we do. We assume that others think the way we think, feel the way we feel, judge the way we judge, and abuse the way we abuse. This is the biggest assumption that humans make. And this is why we have a fear of being ourselves around others. Because we think everyone else will judge us, victimize us, abuse us, and blame us as we do ourselves. Wow, this is rude. So even before others have a chance to reject us, we have already rejected ourselves. That is the way the human mind works. We also make assumptions about ourselves, and this creates a lot of inner conflict. I think I am able to do this. You make this assumption, for instance, and then discover you aren't able to do it. You overestimate or underestimate yourself because you haven't taken the time to ask yourself questions and answer them. Perhaps you need to gather more facts about a particular situation, or maybe you need to stop lying to yourself about what you truly want. Child, listen, listen, he's being rude today. Often, when you go into a relationship with someone you like, you have to justify why you like that person. You only see what you want to see, and you deny there are things you don't like about that person. You lie to yourself. Oh God, I'm not grasping this. Often, when you go into a relationship with someone you like, you have to justify why you like that person. What do you like? Mm. You only see what you want to see, and you deny there are things you don't like about the person. Like that girl in the courtroom, just like, guys. Ooh. You lie to yourself just to make yourself right. Mm. Then you make assumptions, and one of the assumptions is, my love will change this person. But this is not true. It is not true. It's not true. It is not true. Okay? Oh, your love will not change anybody. Your love will not change anybody. Your love, looking at myself in the mirror over here, your love will not change anybody. Mm. If others change, it's because they want to change, not because you can change them. I swear, I swear that those two lines right there are is the answer to almost every question in most of these Facebook groups. It's the answer to most of these relationship questions. Your love will not change anybody. If others change, it's because they want to change, not because you can change them. Your looks will not change anybody. Your talents will not change anybody. Your presence will not change anybody. Your love will not change anybody. Your big ass will not change anybody. Your titties will not change anybody. Your salary will not change anybody. Your living situation will not change anybody. Your pregnancy will not change anybody. Ooh, that wasn't nice. That wasn't a nice thing to say. Your cheating will not change anybody. Your good or bad will not change anybody. If others change, it's because they want to change, not because you can change them. Plain and simple. Then something happens between the two of you and you get hurt. Suddenly you see what you didn't want to see before. Only now it is amplified by your emotional poison. Now you have to justify your emotional pain and blame them for your choices. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, it's getting digging deep into me. Oh, it's digging, it's taking something and just carving things out of my back. It's just digging into me. Good God. You have to justify your emotional pain and blame them for your choices. Because the choice that you consistently make when you stay with someone that's hurting you and showing you, I don't really like you. For the sake of love, longevity, for the sake of we decided to do this, this is a commitment we made to each other, whatever raggedy decision. And I'm saying raggedy because if someone is mistreating you and if someone is doing things and hurting you, or just you just don't like them. And so now you being raggedy to them, you end up being emotionally toxic to them because you don't like them. You don't like them. So you mistreat them because you don't like them. And for whatever reason, you have decided, I still want to stay with them because I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be alone. So I'll just stay with them and treat them like shit. I'll just stay with them and treat them like shit because it makes me feel better to get that aggression out, to get that raggedy out, to get that energy out. And I have a person that I can put it out on because they're not going to leave because they don't like themselves. Listen, if I don't like them and they staying with me, I'm sorry. I'm not coming for you. I'm coming for myself, girl. I'm coming for myself. I'm coming for my friends. I'm coming for my exes. I'm coming for all of us. It's all of us. Cause listen, listen, we will stay with people. We will stay with people because we know, like he said earlier, and just to flip it, right? When we stay with someone that's abusing us, it's because they're abusing us just a little bit less than we abuse ourselves. So on the flip side, if you're the abuser in this situation, or if you're the person with all the emotional poison, or you're the person that's choosing to stay with people you don't like, right? You know, consciously or subconsciously, you know that they don't like themselves, which is what makes it easy for you to be with them. Because if you just show them a little more interest than they show in themselves, you in there, you good. You got a companion. You got somebody, you know they don't like themselves. You know, you see them walking around low, like with their lack of confidence. You see them walking around doubting themselves. You hear them doubting themselves all the time. And we never want to think that we're the reason or we're in someone's way from being their full self. But in reality, and this is just coming to me in my head right now. In reality, when we position ourselves as one of the closest people in someone's life, There's a responsibility there to consider them. There's a responsibility to consider them. And I'm not talking about like doing things like doing stuff for them, but just considering their heart, because it's so selfish to knowing you don't like someone, knowing you don't want to be with someone. It is so selfish to settle for someone. It is one of the most selfish things that you can do, to settle for someone, especially if you know you're settling. It's so selfish because you're keeping that person from being properly loved by someone that would like them and would love them. You're keeping yourself from somebody, and you're being a narcissist. Honestly, like, if you find yourself being like, I'm settling for someone and they're not going to get anything better than me, bruh, you need to go ahead and get up out of there. You need to go ahead and let it go, because if you feel like they can't do better than you, then if Sarante is over here in the comments. I'm so sorry I didn't see your comments, friend. But if you're settling for someone and you know yourself, and I mean, like, okay, I have literally gotten messages from people talking about their relationship where they're just like, I guess I'll be with them since they like me. So people be knowing they settling. They really know. If they're really honest, and they're deep down in their heart, talk like really self-reflect, spend some time talking. I swear, spending some time talking to yourself in the mirror gives you a lot of insight to who you are. They spend some time in the mirror talking to themselves and asking themselves the hard questions like, why am I with this person? What do I like about this person? That is a present thing that I currently like about them. Not something from the beginning in that romanticized era of your relationship where you have to draw those memories to keep liking the person. Fuck that. No, forget that. I'm talking about today. What's something they did today that's like, dang, that's the reason why I like you? What's something that they did this week that you can identify and be like, that's really top 10 reasons why I like your ass, why I enjoy you, what makes me like you. And I'm not saying that you're not going to run into challenges in your relationships. You are. All relationships, the good ones and the bad ones, they all have challenges. But relationships really aren't that hard if you're honest. Relationships are not hard. Working out the semantics of that working out the rules and the expectations of the relationship, figuring those things out can be hard, or challenging. And I don't even want to say hard because it's a challenge, but relationships are really not that hard. It's just that relationships become hard when we try to force ourselves to stay with people and stay in relationship and stay in community with people that we don't need to be with at that time. I'm not saying we don't ever need to be with them ever again. If our journeys of growth lead us back to each other, cool. If this was it, cool. But the acceptance of the short time of a relationship, or the acceptance that this actually isn't what I thought it was going to be, instead of making yourself stay, you can leave. Like, break up with them. Oh, we got comments. We have lots of comments. Okay, let's see. Taylor, stop coming for me. Man, I did that mess with my ex-husband. I will never do that with anyone again. Listen, and they never leave. It's a vicious cycle. I know, I know, I know. Don't let the person, yep, don't let the person they were be the reason you are with the person they are today. Saying a word and must have needed to receive. Listen, we all need it. We all need it. It's not hard. It can just be uncomfortable to be that honest, because you can lose everything. But if you lose it because you were honest, then you probably needed to leave anyway. And that is a word. All right, what's Sarante over here saying? Ooh, Sarante got paragraphs for me. I can't tell how many people need to hear that. So many women I know waiting for men to change their treatment and behavior to them and loving them as hard as they can without realizing that person won't change unless they want to. They have to see the reason for that change and they must find it important. Listen, and both genders really do it. We all do it. Not both genders, all genders do this, because there's more than two. Ultimately that choice is yours. No one forces you to stay with that person. They continuously hurt themselves staying with that person just because they don't want to be lonely. Rather be hurt than be lonely. And that's a terrible sadness to bear. If you know what you want and you know what you want from a person and show your true self, connections and relationships are truly simple, maybe not easy nor hard, just simple. Listen, Sarante got a word over here on Facebook. I'm glad you over here with us, Sarante, because I know Facebook was having some connection issues. Y'all, I'm I'm I am I am in the healthiest relationship I've ever been in. Why? Because of the truth, because of honesty, because of clear expectations, because it's simple. It could all be so simple, but you'd rather make it hard. It doesn't have to be hard. You, I like you, right? You like me? Let's check in to make sure we still like each other. Let's check in to make sure the things that we're doing are still compatible and still work with the circumstances of our individual lives now. Because listen, that's the other thing. That's the other thing. And I've had a very bad habit of doing this in the past. Don't do it now. I have my own life and they have their own life. And we are two individuals that have separate lives that come together in relationship. Now, if we choose to make our lives one through marriage, then that's a whole other conversation. But as of right now, I'm a whole person with my own life, and they're a whole person with their own life. And when we come together, that's when our time is shared. That's when things are shared. Now, and I'm not about to get into all the details of my situation, but it's an agreement. It is not just feelings. It's not just like, oh, I'm in love and passion and romance and no, no, no. We got that because we choose it. Because when you have an honest relationship, you don't make assumptions. And when you do, when you make assumptions, it be like, you be looking crazy. When you're in a truly honest relationship and then you come in and make an assumption, you look crazy because your feelings get all hurt off of an assumption. Listen, I played myself recently. Your feelings get all hurt based off of an assumption. And all you had to do was tell the truth. All you had to do was ask a question, ask a direct question. We need to get specific about we need to start paying attention to the details of what we want and ask ourselves why. Ask ourselves why until we run out of how do I want to say this? Keep asking yourself why until you run out of why. So let's see. Say you're a person that wants somebody with six figures. You want somebody with six figures. You're like, my requirement for dating is somebody with six figures. I am not familiar with that, but we're just gonna say that, right? Say you want somebody with six figures. Why? Because I would like to have stability and continue my lifestyle. Why? Because when I was growing up, I didn't really have a lot of money growing up. Or when I was growing up, I grew up at a certain level of financial, like my parents had a certain income. They had me living at a certain standard. I live at that standard and I want to continue to live at that standard. So the person that I'm with, they need to match that if they want to be with me. Why? Because I feel like that is an expression of my self-care. That shows me, that's how I express love to myself. That's how I express love to myself, by maintaining a certain lifestyle or doing things that I like, or getting my nails done, keeping my hair done, wearing the kind of clothes that I actually want to wear, and not settling for clothes that are, cheaper or less expensive or whatever. Like, I want these things because they make me feel good about myself. Boom. Keep asking why until you run out of whys, so that you don't make assumptions. So that you don't make assumptions, and so that you're not vague when you are expecting someone to understand why you have a certain standard. Because there's nothing wrong with your standard at all. There is nothing wrong with your standard. Have your standard. Have your emotional standards, have your financial standards, have your Emotional, financial, romantic standards, physical standards. Have your standards. Listen, because you got to live with your decision of a person. You got to live with the decision to be in a relationship with a person. And if you like can't give yourself a good reason why you continue to choose this person every day, you got some inventory to do. Let's get back into this book, child, because I'll keep going. I'll keep going and going and going. Me and my friend, me and my best friend, relationships without questions. Why do you run out of questions? Because you make sure you answer all the questions. Get all the questions answered. Answer all the questions. Have all the questions answered. And most of them questions are going to yourself. Most of them questions are your questions about yourself, about what you need to be doing to make sure that you are and again, I am no expert on relationships. I've been in them. I don't spend a lot of time being single, so I don't know what happens out here in the single world. However, if you ask a whole lot of questions, you get a whole lot of answers, and that's less guessing for everybody to do. If they get annoyed with the fact that you asking so many questions, guess what? They probably gonna be annoyed with you anyway. If you're inquisitive, they either they're gonna be annoyed, either they're just gonna be annoyed with that anyway, and that ain't for you, or they're trying to hide something that ain't for you, or they haven't thought about those things, and depending on the question, they may need to do some personal work and more healing before they enter a relationship. It ain't for you. Ask your questions. Regardless, say goodbye to your little friend. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Oh no. Um, you're gonna have to text me what that means, friend. Yeah, let's get back into this book. We don't need to justify love. Is there or is it there or not there? Okay, sorry. We don't need to justify love. It is there or not there. Real love is accepting other people the way they are without trying to change them. If we try to change them, oh, okay, got you. Okay. We don't need to justify love. It is there or not there. Real love is accepting people the way they are without trying to change them. Amen. Amen. Because when I tell you that was okay, sorry, I'll keep going. But I'm happy. I'm very, very blessed to have my significant other. Um, One of the first things they said to me upon entering the relationship, even before, it was like we met, we hung out, and probably one of the first conversations within like 2 weeks of meeting each other. It was just like, I am going to be the person I'm going to be. I am this person, I am this way. These are the things that I enjoy to do. I am not willing to sacrifice that. So if you need me to sacrifice that to be for us to continue this, then I'm not going to do it. And that was the expectation set, boom, early on. This is who I am. This is what I like. These are the things that I'm going to do. And if you don't like that, if you're not comfortable with that, I need this amount of space. I need these things. These are the things that I want to do. I I need that. Bruh, when I tell you, when I heard that after being what I had gone through, I was like, yes, yes. You like to do what? You like to do these activities? Me too. And I want to do them with my friends, and then I'm going to go do them with my friends. And if we happen to cross paths while we're out doing the things with our friends, hey, even better, bigger party, you know? Because you shouldn't have to sacrifice who you are to be with a person. The moment you start sacrificing, when I did that Eartha Kitt clip, where she is just like compromising for what? Compromising for what reason? To compromise for what? A relationship is a relationship that has to be earned, not to compromise for. And when she said that, I didn't take it as you don't make compromises within your relationship, because you do. When you begin sharing your life with someone, there are compromises that are made, but it's because of a rule thing, of a function, like a functioning of the relationship, not asking that person to compromise themselves, not asking that person to be a different person than they naturally are, because, I don't like it, or it makes me uncomfortable, or it annoys me. Even if you see something within them that's hurting them, and you see that, and then you're just like, ooh, I really wish they wouldn't do that, because I see the self-destruction that it causes. That's not your job to tell them what they need and need not doing. You can let them know, hey, I've observed this. I noticed that when you do this, it seems like this is happening from my perspective, and I wanted to share my perspective with you, just to inform you what I see. And because I care about you and I don't want to see you hurt, I'm sharing this information and I'm sharing this observation with you. That is all you're allowed to do before you start crossing into trying to change people, which is not your job. Not your job, not their job. No one's job to change you, or to change for you to change them. If we try to change them, this means we really don't like them. Of course, if you decide to live with someone, if you make that agreement, it is always better to make that agreement with someone who is exactly the way you want him or her to be. Find someone whom you don't have to change at all. It is much easier to find someone who is already the way you want him or her to be, instead of trying to change that person. Also, that person must love you just the way you are, so he or she doesn't have to change you at all. If others feel they have to change you, that means they really don't love you just the way you are. So why be with someone if you're not the way he or she wants you to be? Listen, listen, listen. This is why it's so important, y'all. This is why I'm always saying that I really want people to be themselves. Be yourself, all the good and the bad of yourself. Explore that shit, because the thing is, even those things that are bad about us, right, our bad side, our dark side, or the less desirable attributes of our personality, right, if we try to hide those and act like those don't exist, they come out. They're going to come out regardless, because it's you. So why not spend your time, instead of plaguing yourself with how you need to adjust yourself to attract these kinds of people, and what you need to do and what you need to change to attract this and that person. Fuck all that. No, be you. Because what happens when you're yourself? The people you meet are people that are cool. The people you meet that want to be around you are people that are cool with you as you are. You don't have to pretend to be nobody else except for you. You don't have to change yourself or code switch or do any of that extra facade shit in order to mix and mingle with them. Because the people that are around you, because they like you for being you, they're just like, hey, well, that's who she is. That's who they are. That's who he is. I'm cool with that. And guess what? When you are being your authentic self, when you are just choosing to be yourself, you attract people who are doing the same thing, or people who want to do the same thing. Now, sometimes you'll attract people that want to do the same thing, and because they can't do it, they try to latch onto you and live vicariously through you. That's why you got to worry about you. When it comes to your emotional and personal well-being, now I'm all for us collectively helping other people, but when it comes to your emotional and physical and mental well-being, and understanding and preserving you as your authentic self, that is all on you to do and to make happen. Okay. Oh god, y'all, I don't know if we're gonna finish this book before we're not gonna finish this book before Valentine's Day. That's all right. We still in the month of love, so We still going to do the mastery of love right after this, regardless. It'll be the week of Valentine's Day. Okay, let's see. Let's keep going. Let's keep going in the book. I love talking, so. Also, blah, blah, blah. We have to be what we are so we don't have to present a false image. If you love me the way I am, okay, take me. If you don't love me the way that I am, okay, bye-bye. Find someone else. It may sound harsh, but this kind of communication means the personal agreements we make with others are clear and impeccable. Just imagine the day you stop making assumptions with your partner and eventually with everyone else in your life. Your way of communicating will change completely, and your relationships will no longer suffer from conflicts created by mistaken assumptions. The way to keep yourself from making assumptions is to ask questions. Make sure the communication is clear. If you don't understand, ask. Have the courage to ask questions until you are clear as you can. What did I just say? What did I just say? Have the courage to ask questions until you are clear as you can be. And even then, do not assume you know all there is to know about a given situation. Once you hear the answer, you will not have to make assumptions because you will know the truth. Also, find your voice to ask for what you want. Everybody has a right to tell you yes or no, but you always have the right to ask. Likewise, everybody has the right to ask you, and you have the right to say yes or no. If you don't understand something, it is better for you to ask and be clear instead of making an assumption. The day you stop making assumptions, you will communicate cleanly and clearly, free of emotional poison. Without making assumption, your word becomes impeccable. With clear communication, all of your relationships will change, not only with your partner, but with everyone else. You won't need to make assumptions because everything becomes so clear. This is what I want. This is what you want. If we communicate in this way, your word becomes impeccable. If all humans could communicate in this way with impeccability of the word, there would be no wars, no violence, no misunderstandings. All human problems would be resolved if we could just have clear communication. This then is the third agreement. Don't make assumptions. Just saying this sounds easy, but I understand that it is difficult to do. It is difficult because we so often do the exact opposite. We have all these bad habits and routines that we are not even aware of because we are not even aware of, becoming aware of these habits and understanding the importance of this agreement is the first step. But understanding its importance is not enough. Information and an idea is merely the seed in your mind. What will really make the difference is action. Taking the action over and over again strengthens your will, nurtures the seed, and establishes a solid foundation for the new habit to grow. After many repetitions of new agreements, these new agreements will become second nature, and you will see how the magic of your word transforms you from a black magician into a white magician. A white magician uses the word for creation, giving, sharing, and loving. By making this one agreement a habit, your whole life will be completely transformed. When you transform your whole dream, magic just happens in your life. What you need comes to you easily because spirit moves freely through you. This is the mastery of intent, the mastery of spirit, the mastery of love, the mastery of gratitude, and the mastery of life. This is the goal of the Toltec. This is the path to personal freedom. Let's see how long this chapter is. Okay. All right, y'all. We're doing all right. We have 3 chapters left, I think. 3 chapters left and prayers at the end of this. So we got time for me to go into the next chapter. I'm going to go ahead and start the next chapter. Y'all, don't make assumptions. Bottom line. All right, the 4th agreement. This is the last agreement. Always do your best. Always do your best. There is just one more agreement, but it's the one that allows the other 3 to become deeply ingrained habits. This is the one that allows the other three to become deeply ingrained habits. The fourth agreement is about the action of the first three. Always do your best. Under any circumstance, always do your best. No more and no less. But keep in mind that your best is never going to be the same from one moment to the next. Everything is alive and changing all the time, so your best will sometimes be high quality and other times it will not be as good. When you wake up refreshed and energized in the morning, your best will be better than when you are tired at night. Your best will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick, as sober as opposed to drunk. Your best will depend on whether you are feeling wonderful and happy or upset, angry, or jealous. In your everyday moods, your best can change from one moment to another, from 1 hour to the next, from one day to another. Your best will also change over time. As you build the habit of the four new agreements, your best will become better than it used to be. Regardless of the quality, keep doing your best. No more and no less than your best. If you try too hard to do more than your best, you will spend more energy than is needed in the end, and in the end, your best will not be enough. When you overdo, you deplete your body and go against yourself, and it will take you longer to accomplish your goals. But if you do less than your best, you subject yourself to frustration, self-judgment, guilt, and regrets. Just do your best. In any circumstance in your life, it doesn't matter if you are sick or tired, if you always do your best, there is no way you can judge yourself. If you always do your best, there is no way you can judge yourself. Your best, not the best of the person next to you. I'm sorry, I'm going to stop right here. Your best. So if you're sick and your best is only this much effort because that's all you have left, that's all you have to give, guess what? That's still good enough because your best is whatever you can give without judging yourself. Sorry. If you always do your best, there's no way you can judge yourself. And if you don't judge yourself, there's no way you are going to suffer from guilt, blame, and self-punishment. By always doing your best, you will break a big spell that you have been under. There was a man who wanted to transcend his suffering, so he went to a Buddhist temple to find a master to help him. He went to the master and asked, "Master, if I meditate 4 hours a day, how long will it take me to transcend?" The master looked at him and said, "If you meditate 4 hours a day, perhaps you will transcend in 10 years. Thinking he could do better, the man said, "Oh, master, what if I meditated 8 hours a day? How long would it take me to transcend?" The master looked at him and said, "If you meditate 8 hours a day, perhaps you will transcend in 20 years. "But why will it take me longer if I meditate more?" the man asked. The master replied, "You are not here to sacrifice your joy or your life. You are here to live, to be happy, and to love. If you can do your best in 2 hours of Oh, okay. Oh, well, my iPhone stopped working. Temperature. Phone needs to cool down before you can use it. Well, well, I'm going to stop right there then. Because oh man. Oh man. That probably means that the video is not going to be available. I hope that's not what that means. Oh, Mercury, you savage. You freaking savage. Okay, y'all. Well, we're going to continue with Do Your Best tomorrow because technology wants to be a raggedy B word today. I think today was a really great episode. I think that we covered a lot of really great things, and I'm so appreciative of everybody that shows up and and has the courage to show up and hear these uncomfortable truths. I'm so thankful for y'all. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. And I hope that y'all have a lovely night. I will see you tomorrow at 6, and we will get started and continue in chapter 5 in the fourth agreement. All right, y'all. Have a good night. Bye.